JB, are you ready?
Almost. Just have to do my bow tie. Okay, put this on.
Okay, you gonna put your jacket on?
Okay, this looks pretty good.
Yes, it does. Okay, let's show how we made it. My daughter wanted me to make bow ties for her wedding, and I couldn't find good instructions, so I kind of put lots together, and because of that, I decided to do a video myself of how I made the bow ties. All right, here is the finished bow tie with the strap, and I'm going to describe the various parts. We're going to call these the bows, the front bow and the back bow, this the knot, and this the strap. So I'm going to put that aside and start with the parts. This is a piece of fabric cut 50 centimeters by 11.7 centimeters, and there is an equal piece of fusible interfacing, which you can iron to the fabric on the back side. This is interfacing that's probably medium to light weight, depending on how thick you want your bow tie to be. So you've cut this fabric, you've ironed it on, and now you want to turn this fabric into this size. And the way you do that is you flip this over. I cut pieces of cardboard, the finished size of this, which is 6 centimeters from here to here. That's the size of these pieces of cardboard. You take it to your ironing board and you iron this down and you iron that down. And then when you turn that over, it looks like this piece of fabric. So here's the iron down, and now we have this with the finished edge. Again, it's 6 centimeters from top to bottom. This piece of fabric then is going to become the two parts of the bow tie, the bow part. We wanted these to be different sizes. So this one in front is 24, the one in back is 26. So I used my rotary cutter. I used these as my guide. And I would cut across there to get the 26 and the 24-inch piece out of this original 50 centimeter long piece. Okay, then once I have these two pieces, I fold this so that the raw side is out so I can see where my halfway point is. So here's I just crease it with my fingers so I can see where the halfway point, open it back out. Now I'm going to fold each end in to that halfway point. And I'm going to do the same thing to this piece. Once I have these folded in, I take it to my sewing machine, and the goal is to do a line from here to here to catch this edge, and a line from here to here to catch that edge. I do the same thing on this one. Then I take that and I have the two edges, the two lines that are sewn. So there's the back side and the front side. I have the same thing on this piece, back or front and back. So these are the finished edges and the finished edges, and I want both finished edges to show, so I put the smaller piece on top of the larger piece with the wrong sides together, like this. Then I take it to my sewing machine and I sew a line right through both of those so that they're now attached together. I'm switching to the green one so that you can see there's the line that has sewn these two together. Both of the good sides are out and they're attached. So then once I have this piece, I want to fold it to the bow tie. So what I've done is taken this and folded it with these edges coming together and then fold back again. And now you're starting to see it look like a bow tie. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I am going to show you that you take your needle and thread and you sew through these layers, and it is kind of hard to get through them all, but possible. I don't have my hemostats here. Sometimes I get a hold of that to pull it through. Can't get it through. I have to stop. Hemostat, or a little clip, oh, got that caught, to help pull it through. Now you're going to continue to sew back and forth through there, and then after you've done a few, you take your thread and wrap it around so that you have some security to this, and that part then will look like this piece, so that it's held tightly together, sewn, and then wrapped. And I left the needle on the end of this so that I could use it for the further stitching. So we have this part together, and at some point along the way as we were sewing in our sewing machine, we also put together the strap. So I'm going to go to the strap now. The strap is the piece of fabric that is 61 by 6 centimeters. And what I'm going to do then is take it. I have chosen the shiny side to be my good side or outside. So I fold it with the shiny sides together. I stitch across the end and all the way down, and then I use a tool to invert it. And once it's inverted, it looks like this, except I have that one end that wasn't finished stitching. So I tuck it under and did a top stitch across here. Then I lay it out so that my top stitched area is to the left and my seam is to the right. Then I have the hardware. This is the hardware for the strap. I'm going to call this the hook, the slider, and the eye. I start by picking up my hook. I've got it toward the right and it's hooking up. So I feed that through here and push it down to get it out of the way. And then the slider has a center bar that is raised slightly when you look at the underside of it. So I'm going to stick this strap through, back up, so that it looks like this. And then scoot this to the end because I don't want to have much of my fabric involved in this. And I stitch across here. I'm going to pin it just because I don't want to take the time to stitch across there. Now, once I have that stitched, I take the end, the right end, where it has the nice finished seam, and I'm going to tuck it into the slider as well. So the slider has 2 pieces of fabric in it. And I can slide it out so far as I want to. I'll have it out. This is what makes it adjustable, the slider. And I'm moving it out towards the hook. On the other end, I'm going to place the eye. Now this is my outside, so I want to make my seam on the inside, or my stitching. I'm going to put it from the top to the bottom, take it to the sewing machine, and stitch across. So that then, when it's finished and all sewn, looks like this strap. Then the final is to put this together, but before I do that, I haven't talked about the knot. How do you make the knot? The knot, there's a couple of different ways. One, I have a sewing machine that embroiders, so I put a piece of fabric in that and stitched the initials of the guys that are in the wedding. This is 10 by 11.5 centimeters, but you can do it a simple knot without doing any of the stitching, and you have a piece of fabric that's 8 by 5 centimeters, putting the right sides together, going to your sewing machine, doing the same thing that you did on your strap, one end, the long end, and then inverting it, and then you'll have to finish off your edge. The way I finished off my edges, because after I embroidered, I had to fold it in because I could no longer do a seam like this method. So I took these, sewed them down each end, refolded them back together, and sewed across them so that I have edges that are finished. Now you take this piece that is the knot, and you pick up your bow that you've already made, and you turn that over, and you're going to have to add your strap. The way I added the strap was I put the eye part of the hardware, if you can see that, put it against, get something lighter, and I stitched that in place so that it was, that this strap was even with the middle of the bow tie. They're going the same direction, they're parallel. And then you take, after that is stitched on, you take this and you fold it, and you fold it. This should be out just a little bit further. And you hand stitch here. So you've hand stitched the bow to squeeze it in, and you have to also hand stitch the strap and the knot. Then when it's finished and you turn it around, you have your finished bow tie with your strap in place. And that is what we have here as our finished product. And that's the end of the bow tie.